Hey everybody, Monty here, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about taxes. You know, most of you are paying too much on your taxes, and you're actually losing money every year if you're not self-employed, if you don't own your own business. And a lot of you probably are wondering, well, how can I start a business? It costs thousands and thousands of dollars. And we have an opportunity, we have a way to show you how you can own and operate your own business and receive all the benefits of owning your own business without having to invest thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And of course, this is only for people that really want to own a business, because it has to be a legitimate business. And if you are actually interested in earning money too, that's a great thing about this, is our average people earn an extra $300 a month. And the wonderful thing about that is statistically, most bankruptcies in America in the recent history and over the last few decades, most bankruptcies could have been prevented for just a little over basically $300 a month. And when couples are having financial challenges, typically $300 a month would have been enough to have prevented them. I mean, think about it. When were you last stressed about bills and finances? Was it thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or was it just hundreds? I personally have had challenges that were over $1 million. I mean, literally the first time we had challenges with our business, I lost over $250,000. And then a few years later, we go big or go home. We lost over $1 million. And I don't recommend it. That was traditional business. Fortunately for us, we had another business going that continued to go even when those traditional businesses failed us. And I had a mentor years ago who he started a business and had it running with lots of employees, traditional business with lots and lots of cash flow. And I remember after getting to know him for a few months, and he was sharing a lot of intimate details, suggestions about how you should do business. And I asked him about how much do you earn, and he said, well, it's not really about how much you earn, it's about how much you expense. I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, business expenses. When you own your own business, especially when you work at home, your home office, you actually get to deduct a certain percentage of your home expense or your housing expense, whether it's rental or mortgage, doesn't matter. You get to deduct it. And you got to talk to a tax person. I'm not a tax person. I'm a business owner, business operator. So you need to check with your tax people, that whoever helps you with your taxes, and just Google it online and find out about home business deductions, and you'll find that a percentage of your housing expense can be deducted. There's also a percentage of your transportation costs that can be deducted, and even a portion of your food that can be deducted. And when you look at the American budget, money that's spent every month, money that's spent every year, the three things that people spend money on first is housing, transportation, and food. And the wonderful thing about owning your own business is you can actually deduct a lot of those expenses from your income, and that reduces your taxes. And so, simple example, let's say you make $100,000 a year, and if you have no deductions for your own business, you typically pay taxes on $100,000 a year. But let's say, like my friend advised, that you have a corporate retreat, which is a property that you buy specifically for your business, and you make payments on that corporate retreat. You have a corporate vehicle or a company car that you purchase specifically for business. And for a lot of you starting out, your personal vehicle, when you use it specifically for business, to go on appointments and to do business errands, that's all deductible. And so you can deduct a certain mileage. I think it's 55 cents a mile. So when I drive to Utah and back, it's about 2,000 miles, and so I actually get to deduct $1,000 from my income. So that $100,000, one trip to Utah and back, that $100,000 tax, the taxes on $100,000 is now taxes on $99,000. If I spent money on hotels while I was there, if I fly down to Arizona, I might happen to visit some friends, but I'm down there Well, when I went with Thrive, I was down there visiting 100 friends, but I do have friends in Arizona. So while I was there, I got to see people I knew. My primary purpose of my business trip was for business, so I got to deduct the airfare, the Uber, the taxi, and some of the entertainment expenses, as long as I'm entertaining clients. So horseback riding, all of those things are tax deductible as long as you're doing it for business in the course of business. The primary purpose has to be for business. My kids know that we don't go on family vacations. We've always gone on business trips. So, when I was visiting Berkeley University when I was doing medical research as part of my consulting, and while we were there, the kids went to go to Knott's Berry Farm. We got to go see the San Diego Zoo. All of these things that we do on business trips, there's no rules against having fun as long as it is a business trip. And so a typical person who's watching this, you probably don't have money to invest in a corporate retreat or business retreat, but you do have an opportunity if you are talking to people about your business. You can deduct mileage, 55 cents a mile in your car. You can deduct a percentage of your housing expense, and you can deduct a portion of your food. And because I am actually in the food business, we get to deduct almost all of the food expenses, because if I go to a restaurant because I want to sample their food and see how their food is and see what I can sell them, then that is deductible as a business expense. And that's one of the fun things about being involved with the food business. Years ago, I was in a vitamin company, and if I went to a restaurant, I could only deduct half of the bill if I was paying for everybody and they were clients and it was a business meeting. But when it's food, you can actually sample your competition, and it's part of your research for your business. So it's a lot of fun to look at those three biggest expenses that people spend money on, housing, transportation, and food, and be able to deduct a majority of that from your taxes. It's a lot of fun, and the idea with taxes, and I don't have a problem paying taxes that I owe. And the fact is, the rule's been written, and there's a lot of judges that would say, use the law, deduct as much as you possibly can, don't pay any more, don't pay a penny more. Pay every penny that's due, and Jesus said, give unto Caesar what is Caesar. So I have no problem paying the taxes that are actually due. But when there's all these rules for deductions and I don't use it, I'm just not being a good steward of the finances that I have. In fact, I would rather save the money and give it to a good cause. And so there's plenty of good causes out there. I like to give 10% to the church. I do a thing that's called tithing. And when I can, I also will give an offering, and that's a little bit extra. And then I do what I can for charity. As most of you know, I've been involved with charities for decades. The gift of walking through theyshallwalk.org. If you happen to have extra money and you need a deduction, you can make a donation to theyshallwalk.org. They help develop the technology for robotic suits for paralyzed people so they can learn to walk again. And now there's over 300 people around the world wearing them and using them instead of wheelchairs. And they need about $150,000 for each person to get one. And there's millions of paralyzed people. So, you could write a check for $150,000 and a paralyzed person would get one of those machines now. You could help to invest. Right now we're looking to open a new lab facility, and we just need $100,000. We have a space, we got the remodel ready, the permits, and everything's ready to go. $100,000, new research lab, bam. It's a small lab, but it's a good workspace, and $100,000 to get it done. $200 million, we'd be able to build the complete research facility where physical therapists can come in from around the world, and paralyzed people, there'll be we call it the life suit gym, where paralyzed people are volunteers running the gym. There's life suits there that paralyzed people can get into and exercise and learn to walk again. And right now, the traditional system, there's about 30 of the machines in hospitals around the world, and they still have to get insurance to pay for some of it, and there's still a lot of hassles because there's millions of paralyzed people who would like to walk, but there's only about 350 of the exoskeletons in circulation around the planet, and there needs to be millions of them. So millions of machines times 150,000, it's a lot. I mean, it's billions, trillions of dollars. And that's one of the reasons I'm involved with the food business, because everybody eats. And we have a thing called the Food Fundraiser, If you don't want to help out They Shall Walk, you can help out your favorite charity by getting involved with a food fundraiser. And literally, people can set up their grocery account to place an order, and the order goes through the account with a fan link, so that the nonprofit gets credit for the food and also cash. And it's great for food banks, but other nonprofits. You know, some nonprofits that go around selling popcorn or selling t-shirts, coffee mugs, that sort of thing. Imagine if every fan, instead of buying stuff they don't really need, every fan of a nonprofit could just buy their groceries, and a portion of the grocery bill would go to support their favorite charity. So there's lots of creative ways you can get involved with that. And so what I want to talk to you about is how we can help you pay less taxes. Stop wasting that money. Get those deductions, save that money. Average American can save about $3,000 a year by owning your own business. And there's a lot more that you can save, but that savings is powerful. Imagine, what would you do with an extra $3,000 a year? This is Monty Reed for Thrive Life. Have a great day.